Hello, this is Savannah Dunn with Keller Williams, and I am here with one of my favorite people, Dr. Troy Newmyer of Newmyer Peak Performance Chiropractic here in McKinney. And I wanted to interview Troy today so we can get some frequently asked questions about chiropractic care, because not everybody knows what chiropractic care is, or they may have some misconceptions about it. So I wanted to do this so that we can help break the ice and get to know Troy a little bit more. So Troy, you're new to Texas relatively.
Correct.
How long have you been here?
December, it'll be 2 years since we moved here, and we've been open in this location about a year and a half.
Year and a half. And where are we right now?
At physical address?
Yes.
4150 El Dorado Parkway, Suite 200, McKinney, Texas.
So we're right in between. Which cross streets is it? Hardin?
Hardin, and that's Orchid.
And Orchid, and we're right off El Dorado.
We're in the Orchid Center.
Perfect, perfect. So you opened about a year ago. How's business been?
COVID kind of hurt, but we were starting to grow and then slowed down for a couple months. But then probably June-ish, people started coming out of their houses and coming back, and we've been growing since.
Are you noticing a trend with patients that are coming back for maybe preventative measures with COVID?
Not so much for COVID, and that's unfortunate because it's one of the things I've said that the biggest thing we should have learned from what's going on right now is we all need to get healthier with the nutrition, taking care of our own personal health with adjustments and stuff like that, and getting off any medication if you can.
So where did you come from originally? Where'd you move from?
I'm actually from the Mecca of chiropractic, Davenport, Iowa.
You went to school there, right?
I did. Chiropractic began in Davenport, Iowa. First adjustment was in 1895, and the college started in 1897. So any chiropractor out there from any other college, it all spawned from my hometown. And that's actually where my mom is from, and she met my father there when he was in town, because he was from Ohio, but he came there to go to Palmer. He's a chiropractor, and then my mom later went to school, and she is also a chiropractor.
So it's a family legacy to be a chiropractor.
Second generation.
Love it, love it. So why did you pick Texas?
I actually moved down here originally in 1984 with my mom. She is practicing in Dallas, Texas still, but we lived in Plano at the time. I went to high school in Plano, and then right around graduation time, I moved back north, and my plan was to stay up there for a year, work on my mom's family farm and earn some money, and then come back here and go to school. And I met a girl, had some kids, and started a different career up there. And then eventually, 30 years later, I guess, I've always wanted to come back here, even graduating from Palmer, and it just didn't work out. And now my kids are grown, and we decided it was time to move. So here we are. I always wanted to be back in Texas, but one of the main driving forces was the weather.
Yes, which we won't talk about today because it's a little chilly today, but the weather overall in Texas is pretty mild and warm and cozy. Yes.
We smile every day.
Love it, love it. We're so glad to have you here. And you've been so involved with the community right off the bat coming into this area. We do networking together, and I know you do so much to support other community members, other businesses, other referral partners, and I think that's such a huge bonus to working with you and doing business with you is because you're always so tied in the community. And I think so many businesses are missing that mark with working with other community members. Was that something you always wanted to have?
Absolutely. One of the things I don't know if I told you, but when I first moved here with getting involved with you guys with marketing, one of the things I loved the most about my practice up in Iowa after being there for 17 years, I was the guy everybody would call, like, hey, Newmyer, you know somebody that is an electrician or a plumber or a real estate person? And I always had a name. I'm like, yeah, call this person. They're fantastic. I like being that referral source. And obviously it helps my business grow too with meeting more people. But just the nature, and that's one of the things I love most about our group too, is we have a lot of really good, genuine people that are out there to help each other grow instead of just looking out for themselves. So it's been fantastic, but we love getting involved in the community too. And it helps when you really love where you live. And I can't tell you, there isn't a day I don't smile. A little harder today because it's cold, and I'd moved to get away from that, but we love McKinney. It's just fantastic to be here. It's
such a great culture that you've created too. My favorite thing is the t-shirts. I love it. Tell me the story about the t-shirts in Iowa and what you're trying to do with the t-shirts here.
The t-shirt's my only form of advertising, really, besides my patients and the word of mouth and just referring from people that know each other. But my t-shirt has our logo on the front, and then on the back it has the logo blown up with our phone number, and then it says I'm well adjusted. But my goal, it's one of the things I loved up in Iowa. Even, a city 30, 40 miles away, I'd have patients like, hey, I saw your shirt in Dubuque, Iowa, or Iowa City, whatever it is, and then they'd send me a picture. But we love seeing our shirts everywhere we went, too, just that advertising and knowing that they're part of the family. And that's one of the things I tell my patients here, too. The name, you can't see it on camera, obviously, but the name on the door means a lot to us, and it's our name, Newmyer Peak Performance Chiropractic. you're not just a number here, you're a representation of our clinic. And there's a little bit of selfishness to it because I want to get you better so you feel better. But then when you do, you're going to brag about us, and that does mean a lot to us. You're not a number here like a lot of other places, unfortunately, in town, and we're not into counting the numbers. We're into helping the people, and the rest will take care of itself. And being in the profession my whole life, basically, with my parents being chiropractors, my dad always told me, take care of the patients, the rest of it will follow. So that's what we do. We concentrate on that and do our best to help and fix everybody that we can.
I love that so much. I know my husband's always spotted with his T-shirt. I have to make sure I get him extra ones so he's got separate ones to wear during the week. My kids love theirs. They always wear them to PJs for bedtime, and they got to match their T-shirts. And we always try to send you a picture anytime we can too, because it's just funny.
We love it on vacation too. We have people sending them from Mexico, the southern tip of Florida, stuff like that. But and they're free with your first visit. They used to just be for referrals. So anytime you come in, we give you a T-shirt.
Yay!
So, and
you always got new ones. You got new colors, new things.
Trying to spin in the new colors all the time. I think in Iowa, one of my old secretaries that was with me for a long, long time up there sent me a picture recently. She had like 20 different colors. She's like, you think I have enough Newmyer shirts? I'm like, heck yeah, that's awesome.
Love it. So let's talk about what chiropractic is. Like, why would someone want to find out more about chiropractic?
Well, chiropractic's a lifestyle to me. It's something I grew up in. It's funny right now. I always think about this, and a lot of professions are coming around to our way of thinking that we've been preaching for 125 years now, and that's natural health care. Medication's been overutilized. I'm not anti-medicine by any means. There's a time and a place for it, but of course we want to be on none if we can, of course, but sometimes there's just no way around it, and you have to do it. So I'm not anti-medication, and unfortunately there are some that, in my opinion, give our profession a bad name because they're so out there that we can cure everything, and that's not true. If you find somebody like that, I always tell my patients, if they're moving out of town, run away. If you find somebody that's telling you I can cure everything, and keep coming, and you got to make sure that you're protected and you have somebody that will refer out. We're not going to take a chance with people's health, but most of it is easily fixable. But chiropractic is overall healthcare. I am somebody that has not had immunizations. People ask me, what's your opinion? I'm like, well, I have an opinion, but I'm not going to get into it with people unless they ask more questions. I hand out a packet. You read this because it was put together by a lot of concerned parents. And it's not even a chiropractic or medical doctor contributed articles. It's all on parents that researched on their own. And I hand them that to tell them it's your kids. You make your own decision. It is a big decision. And I always tell my people or my patients, all three of my kids were immunized because my ex-wife at the time, she was studying to be an RN, and she believed very highly in that because of the way she was raised, and it was an issue. We had discussions about it, but ultimately she took them and did it against my wishes. But people do get them, and there's reasons for them. There's reasons against. It's something you'd have to decide on your own. But with the chiropractic adjustments, it's been proven, and there's studies out there. Blue Cross Blue Shield was one of the biggest ones. They were wondering why these people over here are going to the chiropractor and we're spending less money on them. So they did a 7-year study, internal, no medical doctor, no chiropractor present, and they found after a 7-year study of their insured that they were 65% healthier than the person that doesn't go to the chiropractor, less prescription costs, less lost work days. Same with the elderly. It was, from little newborns all the way up, they were 65% healthier, and it equated to hundreds of millions in healthcare savings if everybody would go to the chiropractor twice a month for maintenance. So it's something, the way I was raised, unfortunately the general public was not. It's always wait till we hurt or wait till we're sick and then go get medication, and then we'll mask the symptoms. It doesn't treat the problem. It just masks the symptoms. So it's a lifestyle to me, and that's one of the things I'm pushing for down here. I'm trying to build a wellness practice where everybody I see is healthy. They come in here with no pain or no sickness because they're coming in twice a month, like the studies say, but that's the tough sell.
So, and that kind of brings me to the question, there's a lot of chiropractors in the area that might have a program where you are locked in for so many sessions, or you have to do a certain regimented style. What's your take on that? Is that how you guys operate here, or do you do something a little different?
No, a lot of those are managed care. They got in with a management company. I mean, we all should be under chiropractic care. That's absolutely, my opinion. And if you read the studies and just the way I grew up, I don't get sick. I've always been healthy. Most of that is a management type company thing, though, and I've had those discussions with friends of mine in the profession, and it's a cookie cutter treatment plan. This person's in an auto accident, they're going to get the same as the person walking in off the street that's just a little bit stiff. So it's not for the health of it or to correct their problems that they have. But a normal healthy person should be getting adjusted every 2 weeks. So there kind of is a little bit of a management to that, I guess.
But there's no contract to do that.
No, and we've had people ask us about that. Hey, do you have a family plan? And we tried it for a little bit. And we got burned so many times where people, they didn't follow through and they took advantage of the first month of care, and it doesn't work. And I'm not a pushy guy. I don't like to push people into the care. I try to educate them and tell them, hey, this is what it is. This is what we do. Because it leads to another most frequently asked question. I know you didn't ask me this yet, but I get asked this all the time. Once I start going to the chiropractor, I always have to go to the chiropractor. That's why a lot of people are skeptical and don't, because they think it's kind of like a sabotage thing.
Gotcha.
Well, it's not. It's one of those things. Most people that come in here, they get adjusted. For instance, I had people with low back pain, then I also adjust their upper back and their neck, and they're like, man, I can't believe my neck. It feels so much different. I can move better, and I'm even resting better, sleeping better, more energy. They all of a sudden realize, hey, this is normal. This is how I'm supposed to feel. Because even people that don't have pain, they think this is normal. I'm a little stiff. I can't move right. That's not normal. And as you age, we always hear it's because I'm getting older. You shouldn't have aches and pains because you're older if you're taking care of yourself properly. So it's part of what the chiropractic profession does, and we're trying to get people to understand it's not because you got adjusted all of a sudden you need to be adjusted more. This is how I'm
you just know what it should be like.
Yeah, and we get it all the time. I just had one, obviously I would never mention names, but he owns a business around here that deals with kids and ADHD and ADD, and he's never been adjusted. Came in and he sent me a text a couple days later and said, man, I'm definitely feeling better. I feel more energized. That was just one adjustment. So we love hearing that. And then a lifetime of it over the years, when I had people in Iowa even that had heard of chiropractic that decided, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm going to come every two weeks. And then a couple years down the road, they're like, I haven't got bronchitis in the last couple of years since I started treating with you, or I haven't had the flu. And I used to get that every year. Why is that? And they're like, I think it's because I'm coming to you. I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure it is, but the body's, it's fun and it's always changing. But I absolutely believe that. We're helping the nervous system be clear of interference by adjusting you, and then your body can fight that stuff off. So that doesn't mean we won't get sick. It happens from time to time, but most people are generally healthier.
I love it. I would love to talk about my situation, because I think I never had a chiropractic adjustment, except for one time when I think I was 9, and I did a gymnastics event, and I hurt my neck in the event, and I had bad headaches, so I had to go to a chiropractor then.
Did you tell me that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was long. That was the only time I've been to a chiropractor.
Okay.
So then
I thought it was never until me.
Well, but I don't really remember, and they only had done neck adjustments. They really didn't do a full adjustment. It was just a little gun thing that they hit my
activator?
neck. Yes.
Okay.
And it got rid of my headaches, which was really great. But I never considered it afterwards. And then after meeting you, I just got curious, because hearing the same message every time we met, it was like, I want to try this, because I don't usually get sick, but we have gotten the flu, and I've got small kids, and we all know when kids go to school and come back home, they get everybody sick. And so I started coming, and I couldn't believe the results I was having. I sit a lot. I'm driving. I'm at a desk, so I'm always hunched over my neck, and I get really bad tweaks in my neck because I'm so stiff, and breathing. And after a couple adjustments, I always said, I felt like the Tin Man who got their oil all of a sudden. I didn't know I could turn my neck that far. I didn't know I could take that deep of a breath. And I work out, and my squats have really improved because my hip flexibility has increased, and just things like that. And it makes me want to come back every 2 weeks. Good. Because I can tell when it's not a permanent solution, adjustment.
Correct. It's just like brushing your teeth. You can't do it once or twice and you're done. Same with the adjustment, because our posture's horrible, and people in our group will catch me and say, hey, Newmyer, sit up straight. I do it too, but I try to correct it all day long, every day, just to make sure that I'm keeping my body aligned, but it's impossible. It's not happening.
I love it. So how long does a typical appointment take?
In my office, it takes a little longer than most, because we spend a lot of time doing muscle work. We do more than the typical clinic does here. Not saying anything bad about them. It's just I've got that compliment I've been in the profession 19 years now, in Davenport, Iowa, where there's 400 chiropractors in a 10-mile square radius, to down here, a lot of people think there's a lot of chiropractors. There really isn't. But even down here, I'm getting the comments that, hey, my other chiropractor didn't spend as much time doing as much as you. A typical visit after the first visit is probably 10 to 15 minutes usually, and that's because I do the muscle work. I do the flexion distraction on the low back. And like I said, the name on the door is important to us. We want to make everybody happy and make them feel better, and I don't want you feeling like you're a number walking in and out of here. Even as we get busier, my wife used to harass me in Iowa. It's like, why do you even have hours if you keep staying over later? Because I don't want 4 people here at a time. I get nervous when people are sitting, because I'm very conscious of my appointment times, and it's a pet peeve of mine. I want you in and out of here in your appointment within 5 minutes of it being here. I don't want you sitting here for a half hour waiting for me. So we won't overbook. That's another thing that we like, and we'll stretch out the day longer as we grow here in McKinney.
Love it. So you had me scared for a minute because you said you're longer than most, but honestly, 10 to 15 minutes isn't that very long. We have so many other appointments we go to in life that take way long. You have to wait 10 to 15 minutes just to get in the door.
Right.
So knowing that it's such a quick amount, that's why I love it so much. I'm not a real big fan of maybe going to the massage therapist, which I know you have a great one here that you partner with.
Yep.
Because that's up to an hour sometimes. And us busy people don't always have an hour.
And you should be doing that at least once a month too.
I haven't gotten that far yet. So, but just knowing it's super quick, it just makes the barrier to getting here just so much easier. The other, I think, big question a lot of people have is, okay, how do I pay for that? Can you talk about what that looks like payment-wise?
Yeah, I want to say one other thing about the time thing real quick too. Sometimes people are in here longer, like when I have to do muscle stim on them, if they're really bad and spastic, we have a machine. So people do spend sometimes a half hour, 45 minutes in here too with other treatments. But if it's just the typical...
The regular everyday.
10 to 15 minutes. But anyway, as far as like the payment, we're 100% cash. We do not accept insurance. We did in Iowa for 17 years and literally had one person that took care of that full time and was on the phone constantly. And it was kind of funny because I actually brought my wife in towards the end of the time up there, and she'd never had any training on it. And after a couple months, because the person that was training her didn't train her that well, and I was so busy I couldn't help her, she had to learn a lot on her own. And she, about a month into it, she's like, I think I got the hang of this. It's not too bad. I'm like, don't say that, because now things are going to change. And sure enough, it would be like, hey, this box wasn't filled out right. And the insurance company's always messing with you.
Yes.
But the other thing we found was, as the years went on, the deductibles were getting so high, and a lot of people really don't understand how their insurance works. And they're like, well, I have a $30 copay. You have a $30 copay once you meet your $5,000 deductible, meaning you have to pay $5,000 up front. And once you pay that full $5,000, then your $30 deductible kicks on. So I don't have any patients that spend $5,000 a year here. So it's one of those things. We had other ones where their copay was $70. I'm like, holy cow, I don't even charge.
That's not even how much you charge.
Yeah, you can pay me $70, but I only charge $50. So anyway, that's another thing we do here. I've had a couple people down here come in and like, my bill was $400 a visit or $200 a visit at this place. I'm like, well, bring those in to me. Let me explain the codes to you, because they're probably billing for stuff they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Or they're not doing it at all, and that's unfortunate. So we try to make it affordable. The first visit's $75 with the consultation and the exam, but after that it's $50. But all the work that I do typically in Iowa, it was about $125 to $150 visit is what I was charging. So doing the same amount of work here, but we don't have to deal with the insurance, and we don't have to deal with the...
You don't have to overcharge to get the actual
amount.
And
you don't have to have the provider agreement was 30-40% write-off for us all the time. So we try to make it affordable. If it's somebody that's hurt really bad, we get it. It can be expensive if you need a lot of care in the beginning, but it's also one of those things, it's going to pay off in the end, where keep you at work and you're not going to miss work and miss out on income and stuff like that. So, but those are our fees no matter what I do. So,
well, and a great thing to know as well, I pay with my HSA card.
Oh yeah.
So you take those. So if you take money and set it aside for your HSA, you can use that for chiropractic. Absolutely.
The HSA card, and we do have the cash price is $50 if you do use a credit card or an HSA card.
You got to process, it's like
$1.75 or something.
Yeah, it's a minor processing fee.
Yeah, it's just a credit card fee, because we're not going to raise our prices here ever. People say we're going to have to over time. Well, I'm not going to. I never did in Iowa, but we did have to incorporate that where the patient eats the credit card processing fee, because they go up every year, and we just keep making less because of that. But it's minimal.
Exactly. So I think that's a huge question a lot of people have, the time. Why would they... Okay, what kind of patients are you looking for? Are you just looking for someone who's been through an accident? Are you looking for adults? Are you looking for children? What does it look like for you with your patient?
We get that a lot too. You take care of kids. I do take care of kids. I always have.
I've seen babies.
Yeah, I'm a big kid myself. I don't know, when people get them in here, I talk Donald Duck to the kids too, so they have a good time in here. But I take care of everything. I mean, some people don't think we do sports injuries because we don't necessarily advertise for this or that.
Right.
And like even in Iowa, I had some females that were taking their babies all of a sudden. I'm like, why are you taking them to this person? And it was another female chiro.
Right.
But she advertised that she did pediatric chiropractic.
Right.
And that's great. You take a couple of weekend classes, but we're all trained the same. So I've taken care of a newborn baby all the way up to a 100-year-old patient in sports injuries, auto accidents. I don't have a specific one I'm targeting. What I'm targeting really is wellness.
Right.
Even when I get them in here, 90% of the people I'm going to meet are in pain.
Yes.
My goal after that is to convert them to a wellness patient after I fix their problem. So that's the only thing I'm really looking for, but I don't specifically care if it's a young newborn, adolescents, teenagers, adults, whatever.
Love it.
Yeah, and right now it's, we just love a new patient.
Yeah.
Because we're new.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
Yeah.
So we want to support your business as much as we can. So if you're relocating to Texas and you're looking to get a chiropractor in the area, I highly recommend Newmyer Peak Performance and Chiropractic. They have been so wonderful for us and our family. My clients that I have sent over. It's just such a great opportunity to work with someone that you know, like, and trust in the area that also is super passionate. You are so passionate and knowledgeable about this. Are you always learning as much as you can?
Absolutely, and that's one of the other fun things I have. I'm not afraid to tell people either, hey, I'm not sure what's going on here. We got to refer you out and let's get this checked again and just make sure. And 98 times out of 100, we're right on.
Right.
But I'm always incorporating new therapies in my practice because it's about learning, and that was something with techniques too. My parents, in the early student times when I was starting school, like, hey, don't get focused on one technique. There's lots of them out there.
Yes.
And unfortunately in my profession, there's some people that they only do this technique and they say it's the only one that works. And that's not true. Everybody's different. Everybody's dynamic. The body's always changing. I even had that conversation one time with one of my instructors and trainers at Palmer College. And I said, things are changing. Like, I find different things on these people when they come in. And he goes, I agree, the body's dynamic. And I said, well, why are they doing like the Gonstead technique only? And he said, I agree, I'm with you. The body's changing and one technique doesn't necessarily fix everybody. And over the years, I've had people come in like, hey, this person only does the adjustment this way and I don't like that. But they won't change and do another one. I'm like, well, that's why I learned as many as I could to do everything I can to help you. And a lot of people, if you're moving in from the Midwest, up north anywhere, a lot of people know Palmer is a certain name that they look for because that is the original fountainhead of chiropractic. Nothing wrong with any of the other colleges. There's fantastic chiropractors from all of them, but that's something that I do advertise too because it's important to me that I went to the school where my parents went and where it all began.
I love that you mentioned the different techniques because I had a time where I had a surgery and there was I couldn't lay all the way back for some of my adjustments, and so you were able to do something with me kind of sitting up instead, and we adjusted for that one time, and then we went back to our other things.
Yep.
So I was glad to know that even though I had just had a surgery and had been sitting for so long resting, I was getting stiff and having more like sciatic issues.
Right.
We were able to still work through that even though I couldn't have the full adjustment that I normally had, but it was still enough to give me some relief while I was resting.
Right.
So even if you are not quite up to par, it's still a good idea to come in and see what adjustments you can have done to kind of ease your transition as you're getting better as well.
Yeah, and even people that have been to the chiropractor, some really, really like the low force techniques, and where it almost feels like you're barely doing anything. But we do all those activator, upper cervical type adjustments, and then we do the other. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Old school.
Yep.
More. Not so much forceful. And my mom and dad are fantastic, but they're definitely a little rougher than the newer graduates. We were trained a little bit differently as the techniques got better over time, and we can be rougher. We can be really gentle. Whatever needs to be done.
Love it.
So.
Perfect. Any other final things that we need to know? We better talk about Shauna real quick.
Sean, why?
Because people she's the first face you see when you walk in.
Yeah, and everybody likes her better than me.
I know, but we got to talk to her because she's going to get after me if I don't say something. Who's Shauna? Who is Shauna?
Shauna's my lovely wife and my office manager. She works the front desk and she's phenomenal. People love her. Like I said, when they come in here and meet us both, they tend to like her better. I don't know why. I like her too, but
she's pretty awesome.
Right now, she's employee of the month every month because she's my only employee.
But she has competition. Who's her competition?
Dottie. She's security and office mascot. There we go.
Yes.
She's dual role.
So make sure you come in and meet the whole team.
That's
for
right.
sure.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, go ahead and post those below. I know Troy will reach out to you and connect with you, and we'd love to see you here.
Fantastic.